What's up everybody, this is Dr. Garrett Rossi and today I'm bringing you an exciting new video. This is one that I think is extremely important if you're a person who's ever had trouble getting to sleep or suffered from insomnia. So this might be the single most effective component of cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia, and it works well as a standalone treatment for insomnia. So we're going to go ahead and crack right into this video and we're going to talk about the process of using sleep restriction to treat insomnia in CBT-I. So sleep restriction is not a new process. What you're going to want to do first when you're approaching this process is you're going to want to gather some baseline data. So you're going to want to gather data about the person's sleep for 1 to 2 weeks using what's called a sleep diary. Now, what you want to record in this sleep diary is a number of things. Number one, what time is the person lying down in bed with the intention of sleeping? Number two, what time are you getting out of bed? And number three, how much is the person sleeping? How long are they actually asleep, not just the time they're spending in bed? Number four, at which part of the night does the person tend to sleep better? Is it earlier in the evening or later in the evening? Once you've gathered this data, you're going to want to decide on the prescribed amount of time in bed. Now, the minimum amount of time in bed should be 5 hours. So you want to have a minimum of 5 hours in bed. Now, the person will be allowed to remain in bed for the average amount of time they slept over the past 1 to 2 weeks from the baseline data. This is why that sleep diary is so important, because you're going to need to know how to calculate the amount of time in bed. Time spent, and then remember, it's very important that time spent sleeping is what we're talking about here. We are not talking about overall time in bed. When you're calculating this out, it's very common to add 30 minutes to the average time spent asleep during the baseline period. Even for people who don't have sleep problems, they are not asleep 100% of the time they are in bed. So it's a very important point and why we allow an additional 30 minutes. You're going to next want to set a wake-up time. So we should set a wake-up time 7 days per week. So you shouldn't take any days off here. The wake-up time is more important than the time the person actually gets into bed. So we want to set this wake-up time and we want to be consistent with it 7 days a week. The wake-up time should be based on the range of actual wake-up times during the baseline period. So in general, no later than the average of wake-up times on work days during that baseline period. So we want to make a general statement there and we want to sort of average this out. Now, of course, you will need to exercise some judgment because people that sleep better during the early part of the night and are more restless after in the later part of the night, we should set a wake-up time earlier in the range of the workday wake-up times, right? So to kind of avoid that, there is some judgment that's needed there. If the person has more difficulty falling asleep, we should recommend that the wake-up time be later within the range of observed wake-up times. Now we're going to move on to creating an assigned bedtime. You're going to simply work backwards from the wake-up time that you set. So if the person must wake up at, say, 7 a.m., and is allowed 6 hours in bed, they should lie down at 1 a.m., for example. At the follow-up visit, the sleep prescription should be reviewed. So we want to review with our patients the sleep prescription that we've created, and what you will find is that most patients will not follow the sleep prescription as recommended. They're either spending more time in bed and changing the wake-up time. These are common occurrences. At this time, we should reinforce that sticking with the plan will improve sleep over time. So the final step in this process is to calculate sleep efficiency. This is done by dividing the actual time slept by the amount of time in bed and multiplying by 100. So we're going to divide the actual time slept by the amount of time in bed, and we're going to multiply by 100. Now, if you find that the sleep efficiency is 90% or more, we can allow an extra 15 to 30 minutes more in bed than was initially allowed. So we can add 15 to 30 minutes to the time in bed if the person's sleep efficiency is 90% or more. Now, if the sleep efficiency is 85% to 89%, we're going to want to continue with the same amount of allowed time in bed. And if that number falls below 85%, we're going to reduce the time in bed by 15 to 30 minutes. So thank you so much, guys, for watching the video. If you watched the video all the way to the end, I would encourage you to become a subscriber of the channel, as it helps me to know that these videos are working for you and that we're providing valuable information. Now, this is a very important topic. Hopefully this provides some detail as to how to use this technique to improve your sleep and to hopefully cure that insomnia. I'm Dr. Rossi, and I will see you again in the next video.